Yo, welcome to this new iteration of Park Legends. This is playoff edition. We kind of figured out that the things that we talked about in the episodes that we recorded last week, we recorded 2 episodes, are kind of obsolete now because playoffs is kind of going to a conclusion state. Well, not conclusion, the first round. And games, get played every day, so things start to change gradually. So we realized that this will probably be the best iteration for the podcast. We'll still be releasing those episodes, obviously, because they are recorded. But nonetheless, let's get straight to it. So yesterday we had 3 games being played yesterday. We had Utah versus Dallas. We had the Brooklyn matchup with Boston, and we also had the Sixers and Raptors. Now, we're going to save the best one for last because that was, I don't think anybody expected that to go the way it did. But let's go straight into the Utah versus the Mavs, or Utah versus Mavericks. Luka came, did his thing. It was 102-77. Not much of a game. I want to say Dallas pretty much dominated the whole game, giving up 22 in the fourth, and they scored 21 in the fourth. It really has become a disappointing season for, playoff run for Utah. I feel that they are actually selling the bag, especially the first couple games where Luka was not in the game at all. Definitely a disappointing run going on by them. So much potential, yet they can never seem to get it together. But what do you expect? What do you expect from them? It's kind of becoming a redundant thing with them. Dallas is looking great. They're playing their best basketball at the perfect time. They got a commanding 3-2 lead. So it's going to be real exciting for the next game, man. Game 6 is going to be definitely super exciting. I do like Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell has a lot of upside to his game. I just don't know if they're going to pull this out because they couldn't pull it out when Luka wasn't playing. So we'll see how that goes. And again, these are going to be kind of quick hits. We're not going to have like the long, typical episodes that we have on like the podcast or whatnot. These are just kind of quick hits just to get them out the way, talk about it, because there is a lot to unpack in these playoff runs. Next, we got my 76ers versus the Raptors. We cannot seem to put together a perfect game of basketball. I feel like James Harden isn't being aggressive. I feel like Joel Embiid, he's doing his thing as much as he can. He is playing with a torn ligament in his thumb, so that does kind of limit him. And and it is his shooting hand, so that does affect him in some way. But the fact that he's playing through it, he's a dog. MVP in my book. If he's not MVP, the league definitely has something out towards him. But other than that, we cannot seem to play a perfect game of basketball, like a complete 4 quarters of basketball. We got outscored in pretty much almost every quarter except for the third. Again, James Harden's shooting terrible. He's not playing like the James Harden we've seen in Houston, or even like the first couple games with us in that honeymoon type phase with us when he first got traded to us. But yeah, we might mess around and lose this series. We have to close it. We didn't close it at home, so now we go back to the Toronto. We have to close it there, because if it gets to Game 7, I don't see us pulling that out because momentum is on their side. They came back from 3-0 deficit. And I would be speechless. Let's just say that I would be 100% speechless. But yeah, we got to get it together. James Harden has to start playing more aggressive. I think not having Thibault in the game for defensive purposes definitely does hurt us. Toronto does have their vaccine mandate, so he's not allowed to play pretty much in the series because he's not vaccinated. So they're keeping him out. But nonetheless, we should be getting it together because this is getting ridiculous. They're without Fred VanVleet. The last game he left early in Game 4, I believe it was. So yeah, we have to get it together. We have to close out. If we don't close out in Toronto, I don't see us closing out at home because we haven't been able to close out yet. Now, for the interesting series that we had been blessed to see, and it kind of wasn't a series. I mean, none of the games were decided by pretty much a blowout. I want to say more than, I think the most that the games were decided was probably by about like 6 points. 7 points, I'm sorry. 7 points. So Brooklyn and Boston, man. I don't think any of us expected Brooklyn to get swept. I think we thought that they were going to pull out at least a couple games, make it a series at least with all that firepower that they have in KD and Kyrie, Seth Curry, and Bruce Brown. Like they have pieces. They just couldn't get it done, and that's shocking to say because you talk about KD, you talk about the second best player in the league. I don't know if you can say that anymore. You talk about him, and you can't really game plan for that type of player. He's damn near perfect as a basketball player. When you talk about a basketball, specimen that you want to create, he can handle the rock. About a perfect basketball player or one of the perfect basketball players. You talk about either LeBron or KD, 7 foot wingspan of a center, pretty much. Like he's a center that can do everything. If you think of it, think of Rudy Gobert that can shoot, dribble, and do a lot of things. But it's very disappointing when you see that they come up with in a sweep. And credit to Boston, man. Boston was playing immaculate defense. They gave little to no space for KD to work or Kyrie to work. Kyrie and KD looked kind of pedestrian, if you want to say. But I think we definitely did see, like, I don't want to say it's probably too soon, but the passing of the torch from Tatum or from KD to Tatum, because Tatum has played his best basketball in this series alone. And to say that he's not a superstar, you're lying to yourself. You're playing yourself. He's playing his best basketball. They have so much depth in their lineup. Brilliant coaching by Boston, man. They definitely learned how to shut it down. Kyrie looked pedestrian, and that's rare because you talk about one of the most craftiest dudes in the game. You got him. I think he scored about 12 points in one game, and you don't really hear about that often. So the fact that happened, I had Brooklyn winning this series, and I even said which you guys will see in later podcast episodes, I said if any team can come back from a 3-0 deficit, I would not count Brooklyn out. It's KD and Kyrie at the end of the day. It was a great game until triple zeros popped up. So kudos to Boston, man. Definitely a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs. They're hot. They swept a good team. And Ben Simmons, not pulling up for his team at all. Kind of like what he did with us. It speaks a lot to his character for the game of basketball. It's like, bro, your team needed you, and you didn't even bother to suit up. So, yeah, man, Brooklyn has a lot to work on during this off season. You got a lot of questions coming arise. We'll see how that goes, but listen, man, we got good basketball on the way in this playoffs run. I hope you guys enjoyed this iteration of Park Legends Playoff Edition. Gonna try to get these out for you guys daily if possible. But yeah, we got good basketball on the way. Can't wait. It's exciting. It's good stuff. My Sixers better close it out. They don't close it out, I don't know. But thanks, guys, for tuning into the Park. We'll see you guys probably tomorrow, if possible, if we could reach out to you guys. But definitely tune into the episodes on Saturdays. We will have one episode this Saturday, and then we'll have another episode next Saturday. Both playoff editions. And again, just a warning, a lot of the stuff talked about in those later episodes are kind of obsolete now because playoffs is constantly going, it's constantly changing. So yeah, thanks for joining this iteration of Park Legends. We'll see you guys soon.
ain't write 100 lines every time I lied when I was a child. Probably should've kept writing lines. I ain't tell the truth till about 25. Ringed up around 29, and I thank God 'cause the girl fine. But before her, I guess my watch broke. I couldn't tell.